Hello everybody, we're back again for the JavaFX tutorials. Last time we completed such that we can view the tasks that we insert and we can sort them using menu buttons and the items that are under them, right? So here, let's go username, password, log in. We can view our tasks. You see I might have deleted and added some tasks in between to prepare for this video. But right, so we can go to title and it sorts by title. Here it's descending, we can go to ascending, right? And then likewise like that, right? So this is cool, but you know, I've intentionally left out, here let me first do this. Clear, oh, okay, never mind. Let me just then whip up SQLite 3. Okay, let me open first.db again, sorry guys, and then let me select all from tasks. Okay, so if you recall, when we set up our database, we had title, location, notes, and timing, right? Remember guys, right? Title, location, notes, and timing. So I've intentionally left out here, see here we've displayed tab separated the title, location, and timing. But we're missing the notes. What I intended was where people can select something and then click on notes, and it will pop up a new page that shows the notes. In fact, here, actually, this is that page. I've gone ahead and created that, and I made a back button where it goes back, right? So the first step to also have yours do this would be to create a new fxml, right, like you did last time to create the viewing page, right? And then we go to next, create a new Java controller to go with it. Yes, you would click yes on that, right? And then name it, etc., etc. Style sheet you might not do, or you might do, I don't know. It's up to you. Create it, and you would create a notes page, which I've done here. Here it's very simple. I just have a text area that I'm going to populate with the notes from our database. And then I have this back button that has a back button action that just does the same code we've been using to change between forms, and it just changes right back to the viewing page that we created last time. So let me just whip out the code for that. Again, I've already gone ahead and created the code for that. So here's the notes the notes controller, right? So we have a back button action that just changes the scene back to the view page. Again, we've been using the same code time and again, so you need to use it here. And then we have a method called setNotes that sets the text area notes to the notes from our database. But you notice that when we go to the notes page, it's already there. It's like it was called before even entered, you know. And it's like, was it called when it was initialized? No, because then how would we have the value of the notes from that entry? So there's actually something kind of interesting going on in this step of the tutorial where we're calling a method of a scene before we load that scene in order to make things easier for loading. For example, how do we know to pass the correct notes? You know, that's something we figure out before we even change to the screen is the key. It's before we even change the screen that we figure out what to pass, and we call it before we load it to the stage. So I'm going to show you how that is done in the code here. Okay, so we have our view page, and the action is, okay, we figure out it's when we select and then when we click notes, right? So I have, oh, hello, okay, notes, right, okay. Display notes is the name of the action I created. So here, let's go to that. Display notes. So what happens is I'm going to access the database for display notes, and what I'm going to do is grab the notes from the currently selected item. Okay, and that's something that we can get out of the list view. Okay, like when we have a list view like this, this is a selected item, like I just selected this, and we can grab that out of the list view, and thankfully I have our list view as a kind of private instance variable, okay, using its FX ID, right, because the list view here has the FX ID task list view, and I can just grab that right here, and I've done that. Okay, so display notes So when they click the notes button, here's what happens. We're whipping open our database again, as we've done many times here. And this is sort of a key point here. Our string, or we're creating a new string called selected item that takes the selected item from the list view and turns it to a string. Okay, so what it's doing is, when I'm clicking do laundry, my house, etc., it takes this string here. It takes do laundry tab, my house tab, then the time. Okay, so what I do is I parse that string using substring to the last tab, which I'm the guy who put in the tab, so I know where the tabs are. This is the last tab, plus 1. Okay, and then I'm creating that, I'm getting that substring. Okay, right, and then we're printing out our SQL. I'm selecting the okay, sorry, let me completely rephrase how I'm doing this. Okay, I have a new SQL string I'm about to execute. I'm going to select the notes from task where timing is equal to the timing that is available here. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just taking the selected task timing and we're retrieving the notes, right? So when I click on this, I'm grabbing this piece and I'm selecting from task where timing is equal to this piece. So I'm grabbing this entry from the database, the whole entry, including the notes. And what I do is I select the notes from that entry. So I'm just grabbing the notes from that entry, and I'm grabbing it from a result set, just like whenever we select. Okay, and then I'm setting a variable I set up earlier called notes. Okay, I'm setting the notes equal to the notes for that entry. All right, and then I'm just closing everything after that, because now I have the notes for that entry in this variable called notes. It was stored when I iterated through the result set. So I have the notes for the entry, and now I have a whole new way of loading a new scene. Well, it's not totally new, but one thing has changed, definitely, or a few things have changed. Instead of this whole parents thing, I create an fxml loader using our, and then I load up our notes thing, our notes fxml, sorry. Then I create a new scene using this syntax here, this different way of doing it, where I create a new scene using the pane from the loader. Then this is old news, right? We create our stage, we hide the stage so that we're about to reload it. Then we do apps set scene. Again, this is all new. This is all old. These two are old. Then this is new. fxml notes controller. I'm creating an instance of the notes controller. Okay, equals the one that we just created. The notes controller we're referencing, that we're about to call a function on. The notes controller we're about to call a function on is equal to what we just loaded. And then we call that method that we set up in fxml notes controller, right? Like, here's the method that we had in our fxml notes controller, and now we're calling that using the value that we just pulled out of our database. So in that way, we've set the text area that's in our notes GUI to the string of the notes. So we've grabbed the notes out of the database and we've loaded this into our new scene before the scene's even shown, and then we just show our stage. So in the future, if you need to sort of pass values between different scenes, this is one way to do it, is creating functions, public functions in the other scene, and then calling them with the variable values of the scene that loads that scene. Okay, so take a moment to digest that. Again, I suggest you guys download the code and take a look at it. But the result is, when we have something with notes already in it, which we do in this case, right? Like here we have, do laundry, my house, and then the notes is cold wash. See, this one doesn't, or I guess this one does have a note, which is this weird garbage I typed in. We'll go to view task, then we go to notes, and then there it is. It's already in there. So we passed that value before we even did it. Then we can just go back. right? So very simple thing here. I also have this complete button that I've created an action for it. This is going to be a real quick, easy thing. So here, complete button action, where we delete it from our list view, and in fact we delete it from our database. Like here, look. Okay, you see it's gone from the list view, and then right, it's gone from our database. So let's go to complete button action. Can complete. Right. So we just take the index of what we just grabbed from our list view. So what we can do is task list view get selection model, and then we can get the selected index, and then making sure that there actually is an index, we can then delete that task. Now this is a helper function I created. This isn't default. And delete task, as you might suspect, just does all of our normal stuff that we do whenever we're dealing with the database. And then we get our selected item, and then we create a query where we delete from the task where the timing is equal to the item we selected. And keep in mind, why are we using timing? Why don't we use title? It's because timing is our primary key. There's no way that we're going to have two things with the same timing, because here, if we delete from task where let's say title is equal to a thing, we can have more than one entries with the same title. So then we'd end up accidentally deleting all the entries with that title, and we just want to delete that one. So we delete from the database here. Again, I suggest you guys take a look at this. We're using execute update, which we use for updates, inserts, and deletes. Okay, so we just execute that query using timing, right? So we delete that, and then we just we call earlier on our complete button action, we call refresh lists, okay, the function I made earlier, which just refreshes. It grabs from the database again, and then it just updates the list view. So again, I know this, it's a lot of code, but what it's doing, I hope you guys see it isn't really wholly too complex. So next time we're actually going to finish up having our edit functionality, which is going to allow us to pop up again with our insert screen and then edit our stuff and re-enter it in. But we're pretty close to done here with our to-do app. So I guess I'll see you next time for the next video.